Okay, everybody. So thanks very much for coming. Welcome to this elevator pitch event. So the agenda is as follows: introductions and sign-ins, and then we'll get started with the pitches, 6 minutes each. So we'll go straight into them, and then what will happen is we'll have a time for questions and discussion afterwards. Normally. We will be recording this because there's been quite a few people who've wanted to see the pitches but couldn't. So we should. I've got my colleague Farah who's going to be promoting you all to be presenters. But as I say, what you need to do is then turn off your camera, otherwise our screen will be filled up with it. So the other thing is the time for questions and answers at the end. Yes, we can put, if you have any questions whilst we're going through, that we put in the chat, but the pictures have only got 6 minutes each because we wanted to make sure that everybody had time. And I will be, when they come to 5 minutes, I'll be you've got 1 more minute to do. So let's hope it's a bit of an experiment for me and for you all. So bear with us if it doesn't quite work. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Farah to kindly promote everybody to be a presenter. And then we can all have a joint wave. And then if you turn off your screen and then not from start with the pitches.
Okay, I've got someone waiting to come in, right? My name's Nathan. I'm from Ground Sun Heat Pumps. Ground Sun has been installing air source heat pumps and ground source heat pumps for about 15 years now. And we realized from our experience that there is something missing in the industry. As build quality goes up, levels of insulation goes up, the heat loads for space heating for houses and apartments has gone down, especially for small dwellings, and there wasn't a suitable air source heat pump on the market for this, so we decided to fill that gap. So I will be introducing an innovative, unique air source heat pump called the GS200 that's designed for new build apartments, small, well-insulated new homes. It provides both space heating and hot water, but unlike a normal air source heat pump, it doesn't require that box unit that you have sitting outside of the house that can be quite noisy. Instead, we use 2 ducts for air intake and extract. I believe the GS200 will play a very important role in helping our industry move away from fossil fuel burning products and help to reduce our reliance on direct electric options, which are currently very costly for the end user. So a bit of background, we have seen a big push in the last couple of years as we transition away from gas boilers towards low carbon emission options for heating and hot water in our homes. Heat pumps have been at the forefront of this transition. Unfortunately, not every situation is suitable for a traditional heat pump that requires the external fan unit, whether this is because of space limitations like for apartments, or noise factors, or design aesthetics, and so on. We've also seen a transition away from large centralized systems for large residential buildings due to cost of design, cost of installation, running costs, as well as issues with overheating in common areas and the summer months, etc. So all of the above was taken into consideration when Ground Sun Heat Pumps, in collaboration with Oshner Heat Pumps from Austria, came together over a 6-year period to design the GS200 internal air source heat pump. So we've designed a unit that the heat pump sits on top of, I'm trying to find it's not letting me share something anyway, so I'll have to do this without the picture. So we've designed a heat pump where the heat pump sits on top of the hot water cylinder, so it reduces any space that's required. And there's 260 millimeter ducts going to the outside that brings the air in and the air out. There is cold water going through the stainless steel cylinder, which is a thermal store, and then that heats up the water, then is used for your kitchen and your showers. Then the rest of the treated water inside the tank is used for your heating system. There are two backup immersions, one higher up for hot water and one lower down for heating. So even if the heat pump was to fail, you've got 100% backup for both. The modular design of the unit also means that the heat pump can be easily maintained, easily switched out if a repair was required. No need to remove the whole system. You can just take the top off. Even after the life of the heat pump, it can be switched out while keeping the hot water cylinder there, again, minimizing lifetime embodied carbon and reducing costs. The heat pump is manufactured by Oshner, very known in the industry for the highest quality heat pumps. They've been making heat pumps for about 50 years now, and it's manufactured in a net zero carbon facility. So with regards to installation, we've incorporated some of the principles of off-site manufacturing and modern methods of construction by supplying the unit pre-plumbed and pre-gassed. This minimizes on-site labor costs, allowing for quick and easy installation by a regular plumber. This also means that this unit is suitable for modular build homes and can be installed off-site, as the unit doesn't require any on-site commissioning and no outdoor unit requiring pipe work or coolant. So to give an example of the cost savings, this unit was recently specified for a 99-unit residential apartment building where the client wanted to move away from gas boilers. The MEP design company compared this unit to other options, including large centralized systems, and they estimated a saving of over £1 million on the installation cost and design by using the GS200s, because each apartment just requires an electrical supply and a cold water main supply. So, quick summary of the benefits. No external fan unit on this heat pump, but it supplies heating and hot water, small footprint, quiet and efficient, no need to pipe hot water or refrigerant throughout the building. Every apartment is autonomous, no need for managing service charges, energy security, 100% backup with the immersions, high quality Oshner heat pump built in a net zero carbon facility. The unit comes pre-plumbed, pre-gassed for a quick and easy install by a regular plumber. And it's modular design, easy maintenance, low lifetime embodied carbon, and zero emissions, carbon emissions anyway. And I think that's my 6 minutes.
Nathan, thank you very much. Yes, that is your 6 minutes. Let me just put my camera on, and I'm going to try and.
I wasn't able to show the picture. It won't it won't let me
I'm
share,
wondering. Do you not have the share facility up there?
Yes, but it didn't let me. Doesn't let me share a picture from my desktop. It lets me share a link from the website, but I can't see the. It's not letting me share the tab, so I couldn't show a picture of the heat pump, unfortunately.
Sorry about that.
While I was talking, I was going to have the heat pump there, but I can't show it.
Oh, it's come up. There's something come up. Oh no, that's somebody else's come up.
That wasn't me.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, that's somebody else.
For the end, I'll try and find it for the end and see if it lets me. But right now, it doesn't.
Yeah, for some reason, right. Okay, I'm going to remove you from the screen, Nathan.
Okay.
Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, thank you very much. Yes. Right, you've been. Oh no, you haven't been removed.
I've turned my camera off. Yeah.
So yeah, 2020 till 27, Jenny. Yes, sorry about this.
Okay, thanks. Here we go. Okay, Factory X. So this is a low carbon construction destination park that provides a key piece of infrastructure and hub for many different actors. The mission is to make participation easy and engaging and to demonstrate solutions for a resilient, low carbon, more circular and regenerative future and things that exist now. So what's the problem? The construction sector is a major consumer of our natural resources. The building of hundreds of thousands of new homes, alongside the refurbishment and retrofit of tens of millions already in existence, will involve unprecedented mass shifting of resources. There is a somewhat depressing tension also between building as many new homes as we need versus our net zero ambitions, i.e. our carbon budget allows us to build practically no new homes if done in a business as usual way. The shift from locally sourced materials, labour and even housing production over the last 100 years has made us ever more vulnerable to economic and environmental shocks. as well as disconnecting us with our supply chains. The Factor 10 and MIPS concept were developed to enable advances in sustainable value creation through measurement of and increases in resource productivity throughout the economy. Today, the generalized term Factor X is used as the required degree of dematerialization decided individually from country to country according to levels of consumption. So where did Factory X come from? Factory X draws on a range of current key agendas, particularly modern methods of construction, the circular economy, and zero avoidable waste, through to land access for custom, self-build, and community-led housing. There is significant opportunity here, where in the UK, self-build currently represents just 6% of delivery versus 45% in Germany. Blending different show park models, there will be some lovely pictures of these at some point, the European German show park, owner-commissioned developments like Graven Hill, through to industry innovation villages, housing labs, etc. Factory X builds on the momentum of current crises response to drive sector finance, tech, skills and knowledge, and accelerates the process, applying it to circular and low carbon construction and the preservation of resources. Factory X is an opportunity to drive change by building on progress at a local, regional and national level. The combined markets of councils, housing associations, private developers, wider industry, workforce, custom and self-builders all have massive potential to stimulate the local low-carbon economy. This simultaneously creates a positive culture around and resilience to uncertainty. The vision. We are on the cusp of massive transformative construction across my home city of Bristol. To achieve this meaningfully requires cooperation and collaboration between new and existing systems and communities. This can be enabled and facilitated by Factory X. It does this through engagement and exchange with the construction industry and workforce, public, private and community-led development bodies, housing commissioners and financiers, not to mention the vital role of academia and other key research groups. How does it do this? So this is in 3 phases. Phase 1 is to build a simplified, evolving digital marketplace for the public, as well as businesses, education, etc., to access these low carbon products, from complete off-site manufactured homes to natural build contractors, material manufacturers and suppliers, and not forgetting all the amazing tech that enables these things to perform at their best. This also opens up the project to a national rather than regional audience, trialling and building the functionality planned for the main vision through community knowledge sharing, materials exchange platforms, training and workshops. Phase 2, get a virtual village up and running. This would enable us to place real projects into an unreal world. Visitors can access via a web browser, select an avatar and tour the village by selecting options in a similar way to a digital marketplace. One key advantage is the ability of this virtual village to continue to showcase startups and projects that would be difficult or unviable, financially or otherwise, on a physical site. So it also acts as a platform to invite a larger and more diverse audience into the industry, making decisions on what we value as good with more people involved, and share the knowledge, skills and value of our transition to a healthier economy in much more equitable ways. Finally, phase 3 is the real life site. Trialled initially in Bristol, a showcase park featuring a village of 30 plus plots for rent to build to building manufacturers, natural builders, as well as construction innovations. So perhaps 3D printed buildings getting printed live on site. We'll connect training providers with amazing opportunities on site, as well as showcasing all of this to the general public, self-builders, planners, engineers, architects, and more. We have already started building our community. We are seeking expressions of interest, and you can access a simple Google form through the QR code on the last slide. By building an early community, what we seek to do is codify the principles and inclusivity criteria, refine the Factory X vision and minimal viable product features, benefits, while establishing features and functionality of the site to best address the needs of our multiple stakeholders. I'm reaching out to interested parties to help feed into the business case and to help identify specific crucial roles, relationships, and the financial model that we'll need to have in place to secure investment. Last sentence. We are currently looking at ways to unlock funds, sites, and gain wider industry and community buy-in, representation, and market insight. We know that there is significant interest locally and further afield in the development of demonstration spaces, particularly for modern methods of construction. And I urge you to consider the absolute need for this sort of nested systems approach to make the transition to a low carbon economy possible. Thank you.
Right, okay, hopefully that's done that. Right, now the next person is Samantha. I think this is you. Sam, are you Sam, Samantha? Yes? Yes. Hooray, hooray. I'm going to, and you're all sorted because you've got yours on another screen. So let me turn and right, so you've got 29 plus 6 is 30 till 35. So thank you very much. I shall leave you to it. Yeah, okay.
Lovely. Thanks very much indeed. Hi, I'm Samantha Mant. I'm the CEO of Halcyon Water Conditioners, and we are based in Bristol, and we are focused solely on providing the most sustainable solution to hard water limescale problems. So we are on a much smaller scale than the previous speakers. So this presentation, I'm going to briefly lay out the problems that hard water and limescale create, and some of which I think might surprise you, and then obviously the solutions, which are the next bit. So we all know that we use a lot of water, particularly in the Western world. They reckon it's 350 litres per household in the UK and Europe, which is a huge amount. And obviously that comes into us cold, but then an awful lot of it we then choose to heat. And water has a very high specific heat capacity, which means it's quite expensive. It uses a lot of energy to heat water. And according to European and Energy Saving Trust figures, about 14.5%, the bath in the middle on this screen, about 14.5% of our bills are used up in heating energy. So that's quite significant. The other second problem with this is that over 60% of the UK is supplied with hard water, which is going to compound that problem. Now, obviously, in this region, Cornwall and Devon people, you can switch off a little bit now, a little bit less of an issue for you. But anyone north of sort of Exeter will know what I'm talking about when we talk about hard water, because hard water is full of lovely minerals, but those lovely minerals, or one of them, has one particularly bad behaviour of sticking and bonding to everything, and that causes limescale. And I've got here a few images just to remind you how revolting it is, but also how destructive it is. And obviously a lot of the problems with limescale are inside systems where we don't see them, and so basically we don't usually bother to do much about it. But as you can see from these images, the damage is considerable, and the problem is, of course, it's a natural process. So unless you proactively take some significant action, it will just keep building up in layers and layers and layers and layers. There's nothing to stop it in nature. And that causes a number of problems. Now, I know some of these you will be more than familiar with. So when you've got limescale in systems, you've got increased equipment inefficiency, unreliability, systems fail. You've then got increased maintenance, the time spent on it, the downtime of systems, replacing parts, and eventually that leads around to things like, you know, the larger items of equipment just dying. So a loss of asset value, and systems generally not working as we wish, particularly where we're talking about a new build situation. You're spending a lot of time doing design figures, creating these incredibly efficient homes, put them out into the real world, and the hard water will get to work straight away. So those design efficiencies disappear out the window. And I think one which is particularly important, and we're speaking virtually not at all about this, is that limescale is a brilliant insulating material, which means it increases the energy consumption of the heating elements significantly once it starts collecting on them. Now, this is the most important slide that I have, and that graph is the most important thing that I need you, if you will, to recall. According to British Water, every 1 millimetre of limescale on any heating element is adding 7 to 10% to its energy consumptions. Now, if you're in Swindon and Wiltshire or Cotswolds, you're past the 1 millimetre super quick. You're heading up for 3 millimetres and 6 millimetres in no time at all. And that means that every single time someone's calling on that, usually hot water element, you're wasting 25, 30, 50% extra energy just to heat the limescale before you heat the water. And that's just madness. So we need to protect your new builds and your new systems, and we need to protect your retrofit projects too when you're refitting them. There are lots of different well, not lots, but there are enough different solutions on the market for you to choose from, that's for sure. But in our view, most of them have a number of different problems. The main one being fundamentally that they rely on humans, and we, generally speaking, aren't as good as maintenance and doing what we should do with these things as we would like. Some of them are more reliable than others, and of course, quite a few of them use salts and chemicals, and then we're adding to the pollution in our waterways, which we'd like to avoid. Which is why we view Halcyon as being the most sustainable solution. And Halcyon's really simple. It only does three things. It prevents new limescale buildup, which is ideal in a new build. It removes existing limescale in a system, which is great in a retrofit. And for the tenants and the people living there, it gives a lot of the benefits of softened water. About a year and a half ago, we had an energy expert, a carbon expert, do some really, really detailed carbon and energy figures for us, both across 4 different domestic settings and a number of commercial, which I'm not going into here. And looking at, if you are in a hard water area and you treat your water effectively over a period of 30 years, how much carbon can you save, embodied carbon, how much operational energy can you save? And the figures were quite startling, considerably more than we realized. Here's a couple of examples. We did a couple of new builds, we did a couple of retrofit pre-1950s, and then with couples and families and different energy sources to get some variety. So this is what we had. Halcyon's really simple. I can see the time, so I'm going to speed up. Halcyon's really simple. We are not trying to put anything into the water, take anything out. We simply change the mineral that causes the problem temporarily for 21 days so it can't stick. If it can't stick, it can't bond, there's no problem. We did have a case study done by Perth Housing Authority. They were losing their instantaneous hot water heaters within about 18 months, and they were throwing them out. They gave a couple of units to the Perth Water Authority, who tested them for us, for them. And these were the sorts of responses that the engineers came back with, which we were obviously very happy with, that it was showing that they were lasting. And now those units are lasting over 10 years. Last year, too, we were quite chuffed. We came up as one of Evening Standard's favourite household units. We operate in the commercial as well as the domestic environment. And this is just a short summary of why treating a unit sustainably is so important. So there's no chemicals or salts, nothing that needs to be maintained with a Halcyon. And in addition, each of those units is lasting 30, 40 plus years. So once it's in, it's protecting the systems for as long as the systems are there, with no attention then from the homeowner or the tenant, the developer or whoever. We think that makes it hugely sustainable while it's doing its energy saving business. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Samantha. And I'm going to now try and move you off the screen. Let's see if I can do that.
Let's see if I can escape myself.
I'm not sure whether you...
Oh.
Right. Hang on. I shall escape. I think I can escape you now. It will get smoother, folk. Take off screen. Yes, I've taken you off the screen, and I'm now on to Simon from Intuity. So Simon, here we are. I can see you. You've put on your camera.
Hey.
Oops, you've disappeared again. Hang on.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Yes, some really great presentations. Yes, it's going to be a tough gig to follow. So yeah, thanks for that, Mary. Yeah. So my name is Simon Wright. I'm the founder and CEO of Intuity. And so yes, we're taking a bit of a journey where we've been and where we go into. So I'm a chartered civil engineer by trade. You know, all my working life in the construction sector. There's a few familiar faces on the call, which would be great to catch up with at some point as well. Yeah. So we'll all recognise the huge operational challenges we have within the sector, yeah, which spills over into other sort of frontline regulatory sectors. You know, inefficient, unsafe, and above all else, incredibly costly. You know, we're still killing one person a week in the UK, regulatory breaches, loss of quality, repeat incidents. And I think that's the biggest thing, you know. I got an hypothesis that everything we do wrong, we've done it 1,000 times. We just don't learn the lessons, and we keep doing it again and again. And you sort of then start thinking about the questions, why is that occurring? You know, we are very reliant on individual people's skill. We're losing the knowledge from the sector. People are retiring. We don't have robust ways of recalling the information and data right where we need it. You know, with Einstein's theory of insanity, doing something the same way and getting a different answer, right? So what have we done as Intuity? So so we are a software company, and it's been 5 years building to get where we are today. You know, a couple of £1 million investment, and we've got some, you know, lots of patent about the AI technology in the background. We certainly won't have time today to touch upon, yeah. But what we do is essentially about taking all the knowledge, all the corporate memory you have in your organizations, and getting it right straight to the frontline worker instantaneously when they need it, in a way no one has ever done it before. As I say, to the point where we've got a number of patents out in it as well. You know, it's lessons learned, it's best practice, it's risk, it's control, and the really, really important part of it, you know, that needs to be recognised, I guess, yeah, is that it constantly learns. Every time it's seen something you haven't done before, it's straight into the memory. It's not a drop-down menu. It's, you know, it's hundreds of thousands of data points that it constantly learns and relays back, you know. And we haven't been to market that long, but already, you know, we're across a number of the major water networks as suppliers, you know, at One Alliance, CSD in Scotland, some major contractors, Volkers, and so forth. And yeah, we're just on the start of that journey. So you probably had enough of me talking already. So what I'm going to try and do is give you a short video, which will be far more succinct than me in trying to explain what we do. So hopefully this will work. Is there no video playing?
It's playing for me, so I'm not sure. It might be
I'll continue then. Okay.
Dan's problem. I'm not sure. Yes.
So yeah, you had 5 years of my life within 6 minutes, Mary. So hopefully I was able to relay a little bit what we do. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon. That's great. So next person up is Daniel Thompson. So I'm just going to try and get rid of. Oh, Daniel is there. Let me just see if I'm getting. I haven't quite got rid of Simon's video. Are you able to do that, Simon, or do I?
It's not giving me. It's not sharing. It's not showing sharing on my screen at the moment.
No, it's stopped. It's stopped. And here we have Daniel is up. We can see his screen. So Daniel, over to you. You have till 15:50. Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I'm just going to go through a very brief presentation. I'll pass across to the audience afterwards. So window insulation, I'm the business development director and founder of the company. The issue we have is energy prices continue to rise. The scale of remedial work is enormous against time. So the UK needs to decarbonise 3 homes a minute for the next 27 years. 86% of homes have old windows, and that represents 20% of the building fabric. In just government buildings alone, there's over 600,000 to decarbonise. Cost of current improvement measures is often very prohibitive. And as of 2023, replacement double glaze windows are £1,000 per square metre or more. Small semi-detached house is approximately £12,000 for replacement double glaze windows. A lot of disruption to occupants. A lot of supply shortages, prices and lead times continue to increase. Aluminium prices are the highest since 2008. 1st of April last year, Pilkington raised the price of glass 35% and again 15% on the 1st of May. Insulation warranties avoided if windows or doors are replaced, and there's very high embodied carbon with replacement windows. The solution is to retrofit existing windows, whether it's residential or commercial, save energy, money and carbon. The solution is affordable and in some cases subsidised. through various grant mechanisms and some cases power purchase agreements for non-domestic. The average cost for installation of the window coating onto existing glass with air and draft seals is approximately £120 per square metre. Semi-detached house, you can see there, about £1,500. Very low disruption, installed within 1 day. Nationwide capacity, insurance-backed warranties through people like Quality Mark and product warranties of over 10 years, and it improves the well-being of occupants. The product itself is, the technology was actually invented by NASA, and the coating technology was developed by Pilkington since the 1970s. You can see by these examples, essentially it's creating a barrier that reflects heat, and modern window replacements would often come with a coating. What we're doing is we're applying a coating to existing windows. So it's a simple coating onto existing glass. You gain U-value improvements depending on your glass, single or older double glazing. In the winter, there's a 20% improvement in energy saving. Summer, there's greater, up to 40% energy saving. It contributes to EPC point improvements. It blocks 99% of the skin and eye damaging ultraviolet wavelengths, and typically over 85% of infrared. 50% reduction in condensation. Essentially, the product, when reflecting heat in the winter, warms the surface, reducing the dew point. Very minimal impact on visible light, and it's a very economical solution for future home standards. You can see here we have independent research and testing by a whole raft of different universities. We are a member of various organisations and certifications. We're going through an Ofgem audit at the moment, which you'll see near the end. Grants awarded through Midlands Engine, Intellectual Property Office, Sustainable.
Daniel, you're muted. Been muted for a little while.
Sorry, apologies there. Apologies about that. We have a training facility which is GQA accredited, and we're looking at future excellence skills training down next to Bristol Airport as well, set up the training. Sorry, I'm just commercial installs. You can see here retail stores. So there's a Lush cosmetics store where it's installing on the outside, protecting goods and saving energy on the inside. Leisure centres, offices, events, facilities, hospitality. Hotel projects with very modern glass can gain improvements with the product as well. We're actually doing a void demonstrator at Liverpool John Moores University. They have BRE accredited void properties. Ofgem's overseeing that with EDF. We have Sustainable Energy Association and GemServe keeping a close eye on it, and Channel 4 are actually wanting to come in and do some filming. Essentially, we're doing a pre and post data log of the energy savings across the windows. We have this data through different universities, essentially doing it or redoing it through the BRE Innovation Parks network gives us a more of an accredited path for approvals. And that's the end of the presentation. I was keeping it short and sweet. Happy to answer questions after the pitch event today, and I'll make sure that the presentation goes out to the audience.
Thank you very much, Daniel. We are recording it, so what we'll be doing is we'll be sending the whole recording. So thank you very much. And yeah, time for questions. Right now, next person, let's remove you, although you managed to, maybe you can remove yourself, and we've got Mark
I can try.
Luckin coming up. Let me see what happens. Well, it's your presentation now. There's Mark. I can see him. Let's add him on.
Already.
there. Oh, and he's got his presentation up there. So can we see you? Let me see if we can move you onto the screen as well, or we can just leave you there, I think, maybe.
I'll appear at the end if you'd like, if you really need
Bring
to.
on screen. There we are. You're there as a very tiny person. Yes, how interesting. It's all good learning. Anyway, Mark, thank you very much. And over to you on Wonderwall. Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. Mark Lufkin, I'm Sales and Technical Director for Wonderwall, and Wonderwall is what we call a prop tech company, property technology, and we're multi-award winning. With the top one being we were recognized as the top prop tech in Europe in 2020. What we do is intelligent homes. So intelligent homes with the specific goal of using that technology to create net zero homes. So when we founded the company, we were looking at different solutions on the market, home automation, and it was all control your home from a phone. Our idea was really to go and create an intelligent home and to give it a brain and the ability to make decisions for itself. So we modeled ourselves on a self-driving car. Self-driving cars have multiple sensors on them. They have an AI, artificial intelligence, which processes that data, and it drives the car automatically. We applied the same principle to a home. So lots of sensors in the home that understand how that home is being used and how it's performing. We process the data with our own artificial intelligence, and that AI runs the functions of the home automatically. So what do I mean by intelligent? Maybe a little example helps. So imagine you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, or you leave home at 8 o'clock in the morning, let's say. The Wonderwall system will learn that pattern. So it knows that the home is typically empty at 8 o'clock in the morning. What it'll also do is it will learn how long the home will hold its temperature, let's say an hour, and it'll automatically turn off the heating at 7 a.m. to maximize energy savings while keeping the occupants comfortable. The brains behind that is our own design of light switch. So this is replaces the normal light switch in a home. It turns lights on and off like a normal light switch, but it also contains 13 different sensors in it, which are monitoring how people use their homes. So when they leave home, when they get home, it monitors the environmental performance, how warm, how bright, how humid, how quickly does it warm up, how quickly does it cool down, and the energy performance. So how much is it importing, how much exporting, how much consuming, how much generating. By replacing all of the light switches in the home, we end up with a network of 100 to 200 sensors in the home, which generate 20,000 data points per day from every home. So that's about 7 million data points per year per home. That data feeds into our AI and is what makes the system so intelligent. The other advantage of it is that when we make predictions about the performance of the home, we're able to automatically go and do monitoring of the home to make sure that it is meeting the performance predictions that we go and pass out, that we give. We started off doing home automation, as I was talking about. So the base of the system is smart homes. So smart lighting, smart heating. There's a full burglar alarm built in. There is voice control built in, so you can talk to any light switch in the home and control your home by voice. You can play music through it, and it has some safety features. This is what we were happily selling until about 3 years ago. When along came basically the discussions around future home standards and decarbonizing our homes, our new build homes from 2025. The goal at that time, or the goal still remains, build homes with excellent fabric, probably with a heat pump in them and MVHR heat recovery system, with excellent fabric. These homes will have an 80% reduction in carbon emissions to ones built to last year's standards, and they're net zero ready, and they will become net zero over time as the grid decarbonizes. We saw two issues with this that we felt we could address with our technology. The first of them was, as we put in all of these expensive measures to improve the performance and decarbonize the home, we don't reduce the energy bills for these homes. Because electricity is so much more expensive than gas, the consumer remains with the same energy bills as they had previously, and they're not protected from future energy bill rises. The second is that rather than helping to decarbonize the grid, they're impeding the decarbonization of the grid, because as we electrify our heating and hot water, and we electrify our transportation, electric vehicles, we're tripling the energy load through these homes, and our national grid, our electricity grid, is in no way capable in terms of infrastructure of being able to supply that energy into the homes. So what we did was designed our own system to go and address these points. The first was to design our own electric heating and hot water system. We went with infrared heating panels, although we do work with any heating system on the market. Our preferred solution is ceiling mounted infrared. The reason for this is they are relatively inexpensive. They're zero maintenance. They're easy to install, much same as the lighting system. We can ceiling mount them, which frees up wall space, and it gives a good heat coverage within the room. But most importantly is because they work with how our controls work. So as an extension to the example I gave previously, what we do is the system learns the preferred temperature for every single room in the home. It learns how quickly that room heats up and cools down, and it learns when the room is occupied and when it's empty. And then it automatically builds schedules to have the room heated and warm when it's occupied, and let the temperature drop when it's not occupied. So if you think about it, when you're home, typically speaking, you're not using more than 1 or 2 rooms at any given time. But in a centrally heated home, you're heating every single room. So with our system, we've been able to achieve measured performance improvements of up to 70%. But typically speaking, we achieve more like 30 to 40% reduction in the energy consumption for heating within that home. Once we've reduced the energy consumption, and that system is running 100%, or that home is running completely on electricity, what we do is we add sufficient solar panels onto the roof of the house to get to net zero. So the solar panels generate more energy in a year than the home consumes, and we couple that with a battery. How the system then works is during the summer months, the home runs off the generated solar from the solar panels. It charges the battery and heats the whole water tank, and the home runs off that stored energy overnight. So effectively, the home is running with zero import from the grid and with zero cost to the owner, the occupants of the home. We also export surplus energy in summer, which creates a small revenue stream that contributes also to the savings of the occupants of that home. And in winter, what we do, so obviously in winter, the days are shorter, the weather's worse, solar generation is lower. And because we need heating, the energy consumption of the home is higher. So typically speaking, the solar doesn't suffice. So in this case, what the system does is it predicts the next day's energy generation, solar generation based on weather forecasts. It estimates the energy consumption based on historical patterns, and then automatically imports off-peak energy when it's lower cost and lower carbon to charge the battery, to heat the hot water, and to heat the home. The home then runs off any solar that's available during the day, and as long into the evening as possible off the stored energy. So the effect, the result is a net zero home, which is generating as much as it consumes. It's a zero carbon home. It's exporting more renewable energy than it imports from the grid. It's got 80% reduction in energy bills because it's running for free through summer, and what it imports in winter is offset against what it exports in summer. So if you look at it compared to homes that were built up until now, prior to the new building regs coming through, or even compared to homes which will be built to future home standards with air source heat pumps and improved fabric, The home will run with lower carbon emissions, with lower net energy consumption, and most importantly, with lower energy bills. So I've just done 12 months of data collection for a national house builder, and the savings we got through a year were £1,812 for the full year. That's the reduction in the energy bills for the occupants of that home. I'm pretty sure that's a good result that we want from pretty much all of our homes moving forwards. The system can be retrofitted as well as built into new builds. It works equivalently well. And with that, I'm done. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Mark. That's great. So next up is Paul Richards from Gerbuild, and let's see whether he can promote himself. Where is he? Where is he? Am I seeing him? Where is he?
Hi, Mary, I
need.
think you can hear me.
Well, if he shares his screen, he will automatically.
Mark, you've still got your camera up. I'm going to have to take you away. Hang on.
I can take it.
Take off screen. Right. Bring presenters on screen. Here we are. Bring on screen. Here you are. Yes. Yes.
Hey,
hello. Yes.
Excellent.
Right. So 16:08 you've got till, Paul. So lovely to see you. I'll leave you to it.
Thanks. Okay, great. So we're just going to run a video and then I'll just talk you through it. So my background, I've been in construction for about 40 odd years. I've been on the design team at the Construction Innovation Hub in Coventry, where we design what's called a platform kit of parts. Now, what I'm going to show you is a system, an on-site system for small, medium-sized builders. So it's a bit controversy to what Jenny and some of the others have been talking about. I believe we've been trying to bombard the construction industry, the house builders in particular, with too much digital information. The technology and the acronyms that we've been using, especially at the hub, have been a little bit too far-fetched for house builders to understand. So what we're going to show you now is a quick, if I get it to work, is a quick video of an on-site production system. So here we go. Not loading.
There's a little message saying we can't get to your storage right now. Wait a bit, then try again. Can you see that?
Okay, so I got somebody in the background trying to make it work. And let's see if we got. So basically, it's so we've designed a housing system using a kit of parts approach. What that means is we can build any house type we deconstruct a house type and reassemble it using a kit of parts approach. Now, the idea of a kit of parts is we can source locally, we can build locally, and we can obviously add economic social value just by we're building. Is that? Can you see any of this on screen now?
Not yet. I'm afraid. Maybe we should try again. Try again.
Really, no worries. Don't. Yeah, I've got somebody try background. No, I can see it. I just don't know if anybody else can see it. So we've built an on-site production. We've designed an on-site production system, a site S we call it. What that does is it enables safe assembly of housing within a controlled environment. So we've got here in the video shows, and I will follow this on to anybody that's interested afterwards. So what we've got is a typical site layout, and I'm looking at it now. In fact, if I can take this, and let me see if we can. Have we got this working, Red? Okay. So what we've got here is a mock-up site, and you'll see that we lay out the plots as you would conventionally. So we start with optimization of the site. So we look at the land, we optimize the site efficiently. So on a production mindset. So I've owned plenty of factories in Bristol and around the country. So my background is production. Now we've developed a kit of parts approach. Now this is only a small model, and I'm hoping you can see some of this. So I'll just show you some bits and pieces. So we talk about sub-assembly. Now sub-assembly, this is a controlled controlled working environment. So this is sub-assembly. So you can pick these canvas tents up for about £7,000–8,000. They're quite good. It keeps stuff well protected while you're working it. So what we do is we take raw materials. I don't know if you can see it here. We take raw materials within the sub-assembly. We cut them, prep them, and turn raw materials into what we call sub-assembly components. So in other words, we take the raw materials, we tweak, add bits and pieces to them, and we get them production ready. We then take that process into what we call the Thunder House. Now, the Thunder House has been jigged out really to enable you to build efficiently and to build accurately, but within a controlled environment. So the idea, this is just shipping containers. Anybody can get shipping containers. What we've done differently, cracked this. Now the idea is we've got a gantry system which reduces scaffolding, but this canvas cover, what this canvas cover does is it enables you to build within a controlled environment. No matter what the elements are doing outside, your building is protected, your workers are protected, but more importantly, your production flow maintains its flow. Now, the beauty of the Thunder House is once you start looking at it with a production mindset, then you can think, hang on a minute, if I can like this 24 hours a day, so I can introduce a 3-shift systems, which has never really been done in the UK on construction, house building anyway. And then certain sites you'll be able to follow the flow a lot better by maintaining that production 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, the good thing about this, the Thunder House system is we don't need traditional builders. So we're looking at more factory operatives, although I shouldn't really call them that. We're looking at a smaller skill set. So instead of having like your traditional builder with 30 odd skills running through his brain, we production sequence the building rate of this. So we train operatives really to be specialized in certain parts. So as you can see, we use standard products. Really, everything that we've done is off the shelf and available in Bristol today. So that's really key to this. It's local supply chain, integrating your local supply chain, using local skills at the moment. So we use standard U-beams. Prepping, welding, cutting is well versed throughout Bristol. And then it goes into the Thunder House, which then assists you while you build it. So it holds it in place while you bolt it together. Now, we've got some other clever bits and pieces that go with it as well. So we've got what we call a ground rig. So if any of you have ever built houses, most of the mistakes are made in the ground. How do you get out the ground and keep everything level and square? And then usually that's where your mistakes are made. So we've developed what's called a ground rig. Now, what we do is we drill the ground. So instead of traditional trench footings, we come along, and I can probably show you on this video. So we mark the site, we plop it, on the plates. You see these little yellow circles with crosshairs. We come along with a big core drill, and we core pile the ground. So we just drill out the ground, and we sink these legs down into the ground, level and square it. We're happy where it is. Then we infill the concrete. This rig is prepped. These are already jigged out holes. And all we do then is we just bolt bits and pieces to it. So a platform approach means the ability to bolt other people's products to your overall system. So for example, we can then integrate, like what Mark was talking about, we can integrate smart technology, we can integrate solar PV, and really that's what we do. So I've been working with industry for probably the last 7 years, developing products really. That's probably why some of you haven't heard of us. So in the background, we've developed the standing seam roof. I think standing seam is a phenomenal product, easy to install, quite simple to train people to use. So it comes again all cut and prep. And then we use what's called integrated solar. We use a BitV solar, which is your British product, British invented product again, cost effective. And so what we do when we design the roofs is we design the roofs to optimize the roof space to use as much solar as we can. Then we look at other areas of where we needed to introduce innovation. So we've got the first ever liquid insulation. So we create a hollow stud. Most, if any of you joiners, you chippers are listening, you call them studs. We call them hollow mullions. Now, what the hollow mullions do is allow us to pump in a liquid insulation of phenomenal U values, and I can bring all that up. We can show you the data. This is a small section. So this is the model. So what we're trying to do is encourage kids to get their head into construction and then teach dads how to build really. But you can see that these are the studs. these hollows, and this is 50% scale, 1:50. And what that does is that allows us to build the walls up and then inject a liquid insulation. It gets everywhere you need it to go. So these are to passive standards. Then we worked on the window, and we developed the first British passive window, and that got launched in January with a company called Linear Profiles. The 0R is a 90mm window system. Can be made anywhere there's a couple of fabricators already lined up in Bristol. It can be made anywhere in the UK. Got 250 fabricators throughout the UK. So what we've been doing is we've been out to industry, talking to councils, developers, and letting them know products are there, but they need to be able to buy and source locally. And that's the way that we encourage everybody to grow with this. That's my pitch. I can't think of anything else to say without
No, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Paul. Lovely. Yeah, that was really interesting. And as I say, we will be sending things out. So we will be sending the recording out. So next on the agenda, quickly coming up, is Matthew from New Lock Roofing. So let me remove Paul and hope that the person who's called Matt Guest is the right person. Yes, thank you. Let me just remove Paul. Take off screen. Right, Matthew, over to you very quickly. Yes, we can't see you, but that's up to you whether you want to be seen or not. Is he there? He is there.
That was terrible. But we did it. Make a cup of tea, would you? That's why I said sit here. Oh, hang on, my mic's still on.
Your mic's still on? I hope.
Yeah, I got it. I was just getting a cup of tea.
Right. Are you there, Matthew? Are you ready? Yes.
Oh, there you go. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Right, okay. So let me see if I can share my screen okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Perfect, thank you. Sorry for the rough start there. Hi, Matthew Ralston. I'm the Business Development Manager for New Lock Roofing Systems. Some of you may or may not be aware of it, but I'll give you the quick 6-minute introduction anyway. The company initially was founded in Australia back in 1998, and by 2002 we were into Ireland, installing hundreds of roofs here, and by 2017 all our manufacturing etc is being done in Birmingham in the UK, and then from there it's distributed throughout the UK, Australia and into America. In 2018 there, the now CEO Randall bought the company. He was a long-time employee and wanted to break more into the European market than what we were doing, so we done that and expanded into Denmark and Germany. 2019 I started with the company and really wanted to push the off-site side of the business, so we started to explore it, and by 2020 we were foot in the door, and the rest is still to come, but it's exciting. So the mission, and we're all on the same journey here, is that we're all trying to be involved in a design of greener and more sustainable homes for the future that reduce the running costs, are easily maintained, and that look good, you know, because everybody feels better when they're going home to a beautiful home. And it is a collective effort, but we believe that New Lock plays a part in the solution. What is New Lock? New Lock is a roofing system. It's a metal battened roofing system which reduces the need for timber battens etc, and reduces slate requirements by up to 50%. So the metal batten itself is made from hot dipped galvanized mild steel. You've got the link channel which snap fits to the batten, which again is made from the same. And finally you've got a wire spring clip which holds everything in place. This is what it looks like whenever you're installing the New Lock system. The left-hand picture, you can see the system itself. In the middle picture, you can see a natural slate in there. And believe it or not, in the right-hand picture, that is natural slate and our exclusive solar tiles as well that are in that roof. This is a couple of pictures of some of the solar jobs that we've done and a little bit of information on the solar itself. They are 1200mm by 400mm in size, and that's to fit snug 100% integrated in with your chosen slate. You've got a cell efficiency of 22%. 1 kilowatt is going to cover 6 square meters of your roof, and with that being the case, it obviously heavily reduces the requirement for slate. The system itself is designed with the link channel, and that there's to remove the requirement to triple lap your slates, which adds weight to the roof. It's a lot more material, and it's more time consuming to install. So the new lock system reduces that, all whilst keeping it less than 28 kg per square meter. Some of the benefits for the homeowner or the tenant, obviously you can retrofit solar at any time to reduce bills and obviously try and make a dent in fuel poverty. It's something that's affecting everybody right now, some more than others, but it's heartbreaking. And I think if we take an approach where we're putting stuff in at the beginning to make it cheaper to run a home, like everybody's trying to do in this group, it's exciting to be a part of it and to see if we can play our part. You've got an A1 fire rating, and there's a 30-year warranty with the system, and it's low maintenance. Low maintenance, what I mean by that is that should a slate get damaged, which has happened in the past due to storm, trees falling or whatever, you can replace the slate in as little as 14 seconds using the new lock system, and there's videos on YouTube to show that being done in real time. Some of the benefits for the contractor or landlords, I've already touched on it being lightweight at 27.3 kg, fully loaded per square meter. Your A1 fire rating, it's fully BBA approved, MCS approved, TUV approved for the solar in the European market as well, and we're currently going through UL approval. It can be and has been installed 100% off-site with very little training. That's one element of this that I really want to punch home, is the fact that there's a lack of skilled labour in the industry. The average age of a roofer is like 55. And I have children, and none of them say to me, "Daddy, I want to be a roofer." They all want to be a YouTube star or something along them lines. But the reality is that we're needing to do stuff faster, more efficient, and new lock is a way of doing that whenever it comes to roofing. Again, you've got the 30-year system warranty, and you can go from 5 degrees right up to vertical with the installation. Some of the clients that we work with and partners we work with, you can see there from Places for People, Wilmot Dixon. We do a lot with Top Hat at the minute, Compliment, Rathshack. Rathshack are the second largest slate supplier in the world. They're based out in Germany, and we supply them. They are our exclusive distributors out in Germany, and soon to be France as well. Some case study that Top Hat had done was basically a whole house holistic approach whenever it comes to building their properties in the factory. New Lock obviously playing a part in that, and you can see that being able to do as much offsite as possible reduced the transport movements by 160. You've got like 380 tons of CO2 was saved in the construction compared to traditional. So it's about using as much modern methods of construction as possible. And again, New Lock plays its part there. We actually went on to win. Top Hat did, but as you can see, we were recognised in there as well, which was exciting. That was a pilot scheme we done with them, the first ever work that we had done with Top Hat, and you can see there everything being installed in the factory and then easily transported. Just a little from one of the lead design architects over there, they do mention that it was lightweight and very efficient to install. I've had many conversations with some of the people from Top Hat, and they've all said the same thing about how simple and straightforward the installation process is and the time saving of it. You can see this just a few pictures of different jobs that we have been involved with, from ESS at the bottom, Book Look and BD Passive. We've done a few exhibitions alongside them guys for the reason that they love the system. New Lock was actually
Matthew, you're running out of time, but so
Okay. So basically, the final there's a case study there just to show some of the work that we had done on the first church in England, listed church in England to be done with solar. It was New Lock was used. I'll skip this, and basically some of the different sectors we'll work in is residential, student accommodation, place of worship, obviously offsite healthcare, and commercial. Finally, look, the best way to predict the future is to design it, and we believe New Lock plays its part in that by using recyclable materials along with natural slate and renewable technologies. That's me done.
Thank you so much
Thank
for that
you.
whistle stop. Thank you. That was lovely. Right, next up is Paul from Kelder Showers. Right, so I'm going to try and remove Matthew, take off screen. Paul, where are you? I can't see you in my list of people. Do you want to put your camera on, Paul, and then we can start?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, can you see the slides?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yes,
great
yes.
stuff. Thanks,
So
Mary.
over to you. Yes.
Thank you very much. So hi everyone, I'm Paul Reffenberg West and I'm the marketing director at Kelder Showers. Our mission is to deliver the best shower using the least amount of water, energy and carbon emissions, and our goal is to fight climate change by helping our customers lower their carbon emissions and operating costs. But to understand how showering can help, we first need to explore how water is used and its connection with energy and carbon emissions. Showering accounts for 50% of generated hot water in the home, and generating hot water is responsible for about 36% of total energy demand. So as fabric efficiency improves in our homes and buildings under the future home standards, it's believed that hot water will become the dominant energy requirement, overtaking space heating. But with energy prices rocketing 35 times faster than wages, households and businesses are really struggling. 75% of households are living in fuel poverty, 40% of leisure centres are at risk of closure, and around 33% of hospitality could go bust. And it gets worse, we're suffocating our planet at the same time. A family of 4 using a standard shower will produce the same carbon emissions as a modern family car each year. So how can Kelder help? Shower technology has changed little over the last 40 years with no major developments in water efficiency. We all like to be drenched by water, therefore it's perfectly reasonable to assume that if we reduce the flow pressure, then performance is compromised. At Kelder, we have found a way to enhance the experience using less water, and we call it air-powered technology. So air-powered technology uses pressurized air from a fan that's propelled into the shower head. Water is injected into the airflow and atomized into large droplets, engineered to be around about 2.5 times larger than a standard shower. And these large droplets provide 15 times more impact. So essentially, we're making less water feel like so much more. And this enables us to deliver some fantastic benefits. So around typically 50% water saving, which can help reduce the hot water cylinder volume size or risk of running out of hot water during peak demand. And this is particularly relevant where heat pumps are installed. A 10% reduction in carbon emissions, save a family of 4 household £430 in household bills, and deliver a return of investment from as little as 6 months. So finally, I'd like to share with you a few case studies. Working with David Lloyd, we have proved that reducing water doesn't compromise on shower experience, even for premium members. With IQ student accommodation, we've proved that reducing water doesn't increase shower duration. And working with Capitaland, one of Asia's largest real estate groups, we've reduced water consumption by 70%, smashing their ESG target of 45%. And with Barrett Developments, we are in the process of getting our showers recognised by SAP. This is the government's methodology for calculating the energy performance of a dwelling, so we can help house builders reduce emissions by 10% and help homeowners save £430 in household bills. So if anyone has any projects on the horizon, we're always looking for introductions to key decision makers so we can install our showers and demonstrate our savings and help deliver net zero. So thank you for your time.
I'm there and we're speaking with my mic off. Thank you
Okay.
very, very much, Paul, and very interested in the fact that we use so much on showering. Thank you. Now, next on the agenda was John from Longhouse Coatings, but he said he had to go off to deal with a fire alarm and he'd hoped to come back, and so he hasn't. So I think Neil Webley, you're up, Neil from BT Passive. So let me just get rid of Paul. Neil, are you there?
Yep, I'm
right,
here.
hang on. Let me take Paul off screen. Neil, where are you? You are there. Hang on, let me put you on the screen. I'm getting the hang of this now. Good. So, Neil.
Right, can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see your presentation. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So afternoon, I'm Neil Webley and I represent BT Passive. We're a modular home provider who have got sites all across the UK, but we've recently done the site that you can see on your screen in Wales, which was 48 apartments, which was focused on homelessness. All of those apartments have achieved Passive House standards, which reduces all their energy costs.
Neil, we're not seeing it in presentation view. We're seeing it with the side panel. I don't know if you want to
hold on. I will. How's that?
Brilliant. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
And now I've got, so why build passive house? Energy efficiency for homes. It's been proven that a passive house can achieve 80% less in energy bills for a standard home. Again, it reduces the energy costs. Enhanced comfort levels. It's maintained at a constant temperature throughout the home, which is 21 degrees recommended. That can go higher or lower depending on the tenant's requirements. It's with the passive house design, it holistically achieves net zero, and that's done with building in the PV panels. And it creates a healthier environment. With the MVHR systems that we use, it reduces dust and it gives a better air quality for people to live in. So what is passive house? It's high quality thermal insulation with high quality passive windows, which are triple glazed, argon filled, and deliver a U value of around 0.78. We use heat recovery ventilation systems so that all that energy that's being created within the home is recirculated and not expelled through vents in the walls. Our air tightness, again, increases home efficiency. And with our design, we have virtually zero thermal bridging. So what is the system? Basically, it is a continuous structural thermal envelope. You can see the green square there. We all really live inside a box, and if we've all got that continuous insulation and thermal-free bridging, it improves our energy efficiency. So why build modular? Now this is more focused on the site level. So it's got more speed and efficiency, up to 40% faster than building a home on site. 95% of what of a home can now be delivered from a factory. With that comes improved quality, where we've got set parameters within the factory and quality control at all times. It's a safer working environment. We have less waste because when we design our buildings, we order all the materials cut to size. It's all digitally designed up to BIM level 3. You also get the controls of, you haven't got bad weather in a factory, so you can stick to build regimes easier. There's less disruption to the local community. Standardization with flexibility. Again, we can monitor all the build process. It's been proven to be more economical, and it's got a high level of sustainability as well, because we use all BRE A-rated materials. These are just some of the homes. Just because it's a modular home doesn't mean that you can't have flexibility. These are some of the homes that we've delivered across the UK at the moment. We've done 450. You've got your traditional build. You've got your more your modern style of build. But we've done farmhouses. There is really no limitations on what we can deliver, and it can be delivered on a modular basis. We also do an option which is a fly-in factory for a site that may be difficult to get to, where we can actually set a factory up on site and build the units on site. That, as I say, that was a very brief overview. There's a lot more technical stuff to back it up, but that was BT Passive in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Neil. That's great. Yes, I've been to visit the site in Cardiff, and very impressive.
Yeah, it's quite spectacular. Yeah.
Yeah.
And apologies for I've got a throat infection, so apologies for the voice.
Well, at least you're online rather than giving it all to us, so that's good. Yes. So thank you very much. Thank you. And last but not least, I've got Tom Woodhead from A4 Site. So let me get rid of Neil. Whoops, hang on. We're really all getting the thing of this. Right, where's Tom? There's Tom. TW, I presume you are. Let's bring you on screen if you want to put your camera on, Tom. I don't know.
Yeah. Hiya.
Don't worry, if you should be able to put your camera on, but we can see your slide anyway. We can see your slides. Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, and we can hear you okay. Yes.
My camera is on, but I've got a terrible connection, so it's probably just
yes. Okay.
Catch up.
Yes.
Okay, so graveyard
So
shift for
welcome.
me then. Thank you. So my name is Tom Woodhead, the CXO for AI for Site UK Limited. Bit of background on the business. So we were set up in 2016 over in Finland. We now have offices in London and over in Helsinki. Delivered over 100 projects across the globe, and our mission is to remove the wasted tool time in construction projects by turning excess into progress. So we do have reference cases where we've incorporated the solution and seen cases of 500% in terms of return on investment from the solution being incorporated. The need for it, there are many different kind of aspects to it, but one of the main drivers for it is around value added time. So looking at lean methodologies in construction, and a number of our board members, sit on various groups within universities, so such as Aalto University in Finland, and they've done studies looking at the productivity levels in construction sites. So often when we're talking about off-site manufacture and things like that, it's likened to the manufacturing process. But when it gets to site, it quite often, the wheels come off to some extent, because it's very difficult to monitor that productivity level once it gets to site. And we've done studies on sites where we've shown that the base level is around about 30% when delivering on site. But there is a potential to get that way up, probably only up to a ceiling of about 80%, because you will always need some headroom for things like training and downtime, but there's a huge opportunity for improvement. And we believe that the way to do that is by incorporating technology. So we harvest data from the site, looking at things like the schedule, how material is flowing and moving around site, what are the conditions, and looking at the actual visuals from video feeds and what have you, and then applying basically the lean construction methodology processes to enable that data to actually have some impact. So looking at Muda management, for anyone that's looked at lean construction in the past and looked at Muda Murimura, so it's removing the 8 principal wastes from the process. And then finally, one of the options and one of the things that we also do is support people by assigning a professional to monitor all those different data streams and make recommendations for improvement based on real-time data that's coming in. And we are just in the process this year of automating that through our AI module that we'll be launching. So a lot of people have been hearing in the news recently about things like ChatGPT and some of the other ones that maybe haven't gone as well in the press, but we are looking at introducing the first true construction AI into the market as well. So some of the difficulties and typical challenges that we've seen as a business is the difficulty to validate what's actually happening on site at any one time, particularly on large scale sites and on tall buildings. Difficulties around reporting and site meetings that take up a lot of time, and difficulty around mitigating key risks and actually having some backup information when those risks might come to fruition. And the way that we offer value really is by, like I say, really pulling together a series of different data streams and providing a visual documentation solution that provides an indisputable record of all the different findings and things that are happening around site at any one time. We also are cloud-based, web-based, so people can look at it remotely. They can log onto it as and when they have time. And in a second, I'll come on to some of the areas where that is really useful in terms of things like from a health and safety manager's point of view or from a project manager's point of view, they can get an update on the project without having to set foot on site. And then finally there with the risk one, again, it's having that data to hand. So if something does come to light, you've got all the information, whether that's visual data or whether that's condition monitoring data or whether that's from drone surveys, for example, you've got all the information to hand to be able to actually look at what the risk was or what the risk is and either mitigate that or back up if you need to an argument. So the solution itself then, is built up of a number of key modules. So we've got cameras, we've got a 360 video function, which provides effectively like a virtual reality tour of a live site that can be done either on a weekly basis, daily basis potentially, which is a worn camera that can be worn either by someone like a site manager, or it can be offered as a service. We offer drone tools for mapping the actual site itself, so you can look at things like measuring cut and fill or the framing progress against program. One of the key attributes that sort of sets us apart is our AI for site positioning module. So that actually tracks trades in relation to program on the site, and helps to understand how effectively time is being used in relation to the program. But it's also used as a safety management tool. So in Finland in particular, where we were set up, there's legislation for tall buildings above 40 meters where they've got to know where anyone is at one time, and that positioning tool is also used for that. And then finally, in terms of the modules, we have a conditions module as well. So that's a small data farm that can monitor things like particulates in the air, temperature, humidity, and that's used for a variety of things really that's fed back into the platform. So humidity, for example, can be used to understand whether a follow-on trade is ready to go in and decorate somewhere. The particulates in the air is an obvious one from a health and safety point of view. And then things like temperature can be used. We can triangulate temperatures to understand if there's been hot works in an area, for example, whether there's a potential issue before it becomes an issue. That's all driven into a web-based productivity platform that you can see there, where they all feed into that. And for example, your health and safety person could go in there and look at the condition data and the 360 camera information, do a virtual walkthrough, and actually label areas up and send them back into the system for someone to pick up and deal with later on. I'm not going to go through all the detail of this, but this is just to highlight really that it does have a benefit to everybody within the stakeholder wheel, if you like. And generally what that relates to is reducing costs through a reduced schedule, reduced prelims. It builds a great culture around health and safety and around reliability of work that's happening. And from an end user or the owner of the building's point of view, there's that potential to get an earlier handover, reduce their site visits, and also improve their return on investment, whether that's through a capital receipt or whether that's through earlier rental yields, for example. And then I just wanted to really finish off. I'll leave that slide on there just as we finish off. I'm not sure how I'm doing for time, Mary, but they're just some of the examples going back to, from an operational project management point of view, how those individual modules can benefit from operational day-to-day project management. So for example, AI for site, the cameras, we can replace existing security cameras with high definition cameras, which allow us to remotely control those, or allow the customer to remotely control those live feeds. But also we can use machine vision to pick up things like trends if the system is recognizing people not wearing PPE, for example, those sort of things. It can flag those automatically. We also have cover for things like data privacy. So if it picks up individuals, the general stream that people have access to, it actually automatically blurs them out. So if it's then needed for security reasons, someone with a higher access can go in and look at what the individual actually was, but by default, it will blur them out. And there's some of the other areas as well. But really, it's just it's a holistic system, but it's also available in a modular fashion. So it might be that some of our customers have only used positioning in 360. Some have taken all of the modules on. But we have seen in its most effective use that 30% baseline productivity rate go up to 70%. And we've seen program levels actually reduce from their initial programs by as much as 2 months reduction in program time. So it's a huge opportunity for improving program. And that's it from me.
Thank you very much, Tom. Right, that's brilliant. We have 20 minutes for questions. If you stay on screen, Tom, I'm going to try and see if I can get all the presenters back on screen. Might not be able to, but if all presenters could turn on their cameras, and then we can see if we can get questions from everybody. audience, if you want to do questions, let's just see what happens if I bring somebody else onto the screen. No, that works. That works. So please either put your questions in the chat or turn yourself off mute and ask the questions. Let's just see, who am I missing? Or has everybody been stunned? I mean, I know there's been a lot of useful side chats going on. Who am I leaving? Who have I not got on screen? 1 second. Oh, Dan's got a question. Dan, do you want to articulate your question, please?
Yeah, thanks, Mary. Yeah, first of all, absolutely excellent. As chair of Constructing Excellence, that has been one of the best that I've attended, I have to say. I've been thoroughly gripped throughout. Thinking I was going to have it on the background and do some essential works as well, but I've just been gripped by it. So amazing. Thank you all very much. One question from my business perspective, Paul Richards. I put a little note in there. Curiosity about your concept for the sort of substructure approach of the rig mechanism, piling, flooring concept. Can you just, obviously I've put something in.
Oh, he's disappeared.
So I think he's talking about the sort of the ground rig. So we work similar to a sort of car, the car industry. So I've been working at the Construction Innovation Hub, where some of probably the best manufacturing designers and some of the smartest people really work. And we're looking at the future of construction and where we are today, where we've been in the past, and where ultimately where we're going. And it's through a kit of parts approach. So I work on a kit of parts approach, but I look at how can we take out some of the normal, the common problems that happen during day-to-day activity on any construction site. And you start with the ground. So I looked at how can we put a base rig in the ground that helps us to assemble faultlessly. And that was really key to it. So everything, we've got all the digital stuff like everybody else is talking. I've been presenting sort of augmented reality, digital twins, but it's been lost in construction. So we've built a model. We've dumbed down the technology really to, I'm a Bristolian and everybody thinks our accent cuts us down, but I've broken it down so that I can explain it to the guys on site. I've been in construction all my life. I've worked with many constructors in and around Bristol and across the country as well. And I advise quite a lot of councils and universities on the future of construction and where we're going. So for me, it's about how can we bring in how can we introduce new people? How everybody says there's a shortage in the construction industry. Well, there is and there isn't. I set up a production line over in Montreal, Canada, where for the first time ever, I saw women, and I'm not sexist, outperform men in the construction industry because they had the access to technology and the tools and the infrastructure to enable them to really work efficiently. And I have to say, it was an eye-opener to me. That was early 2005, and that was really the start for this process for me. It was, how can I teach non-construction workers to be more efficient and pay them really well? And what industry is lacking? It's the housing industry. Good thing about housing is if we can save front end on material costs, if we can improve build rates and times, then there should be a few quid left to share out for the workers, the actual people that are doing the work. And I think if we can use some of the technology that some of the guys have mentioned today, I'm across sort of some of the monitoring systems, and we work with some monitoring systems that can maintain productivity as well as worker safety. So we do have that sort of approach as well. I know I'm walking on a bit, but that's just me. Thanks.
No worries. Thanks, Paul. I'll catch up with you offline.
Smashing.
Hello, everybody. Any other questions? I seem to be having some
I actually just wanted to pick up on the ground rig, which was the question you had there, Paul. Is it only suitable on the ground, or can it be used on rooftop developments as well? Actually, two of the products you mentioned, I've got clients who are looking at both of those solutions, so I definitely like to put you in touch. But you're also absolutely the kind of product I would like to put in Factory X and have visible in front of the construction industry.
Lovely. Yeah, lovely. I'd look forward to having a chat with you, Jenny. Yeah, I'm talking about new build. I believe that new build is where we need to go. We need to improve the new build. We need to, and BT Passive, they do a great product. I think what we need, what my role is, we've got 404,700 small builders in the UK capable of building houses. And my role at the hub is to, how can we bring the technology to those guys to use every single day in recognizable technology that they can go around the corner, chat to their existing supply chains and engage them to supply. And that's really what this product's about. We've dumbed it down, we've simplified it, and we've made it as easy, and that's why they picked the Bristolian to explain it, I think. But what we're trying to do is make the future of construction simple to understand so that everybody can engage. And then through that process, we can add the clever bits and pieces, which is really what a platform approach is about. We start and we can bolt the clever technology as it becomes proven, because there's a lot of claims about ways we should heat our house, energy our house, a lot of claims, and I think there's a lot of hype around misinformation. So what I want to do is, once these products become proven, we bolt those proven products to these to the new build houses. And reason why I'm picking new build is because the retrofit industry is massive. I've been in the retrofit game all my life, really. And it's a very difficult game, but I think the new products are going to come from the new build sector. And that's where we've been focusing. We've been talking with industry. I've personally been talking with industry for about 7 years about developing products. They were waiting, a lot of them were waiting for the market to actually finalize and to emerge. I think it's happening. It's starting to happen. We're seeing daily now the introduction of new products and retweaking of products. I see remarketing of products, which is confusing. But I think if you get a chance, visit the Manufacturing Technology Centre, visit the Sandpit range, what they've got up there, engage with the Construction Innovation Hub, and listen to some of the stores and some of the I think the forward-thinking experts that I really do think that you should aim towards your trajectory of your business model to where you're going, because I talk globally. We're on LinkedIn. If you want to join me on LinkedIn, I talk globally with net zero professionals, offsite construction professionals, and there's a common theme emerging around how can we all have a common kit of parts that does really what we want, and that's really where my area of focus is, an understandable kit of parts. I choose steel because of its superior strength and quality. At the Construction Innovation Hub, shut me up at anybody, mind. At the Construction Innovation Hub, we do a QFD process. QFD means if you're picking a material, you pick the material on its merits. What do you want from that material? And you give them a point range: timber, concrete, steel, and composites. And then you look at those availability. You give them a point scoring. Steel for me is, apart from its current green credentials, steel is one of those products that I think is underutilized in housing construction, and I think it should be used more. Thank you. You don't want me to chat more, do you? Surely.
Hello, has anybody got any more? Paul, do respond.
Me, do a bit more. God, you're fed up. So what I've done is this what you see here is my kitchen table, unfortunately, for my wife. So I've built a section of a site. It's 30 houses, a plot of 30 houses. It's based on a site that I was talking with Norwich Council quite a few years ago about how can we use ESG. ESG is environmental social gain. So if developers are spending money, then can we spend it within the council and engage with everybody to supply into and have an active part in the supply chain? And that's really what it is. But I've been guilty, same as some of the others, of trying to be too technically clever, explaining so many acronyms and some of the digital presentations we've done in the past. I thought they were really smart, but then I'm dealing with guys that really understand what they're talking about. They come from the aircraft industry, Formula One industry, and when they talk, it is interesting to hear. But then when I'm translate that down to house builder language, it's lost. The technology is lost. So what I've deliberately done is I've built a model. I've gone back to the kids stage, and I built a model, and I based it on an Airfix kit. I don't know if some of you are probably too young to understand Airfix kit, but we've got a kit of parts. And the kit of parts really starts with this. This is a house. This is a 1,000 square foot house to passive standards. You know, you understand how this is built. You play with it as a model, and then you build the real thing. And that's really what we've done. And we've been working on the products, the components, and I've been working with Connex. I've been working with Huntsman, some of the biggest industrial companies in the UK, to develop these products with us. And I have to say, we've got some great products for everybody to engage with. The liquid insulation to me is outstanding. And the new passive, BT Passive talked about their window. We've got a British window. It starts off at 0.66 is U value. It can go down to 0.5 if you've got the money to spend on it. But it's available, you know, and that's what a lot of products are lacking in the UK is, can I go round the corner and get my mate to make them? Yes, you can. And that really then, we then really start to engage with modern methods. Everybody has a chance to dip their toe in MMC, see that it works for them. That's key to this. A lot of people are scared of it, and then adopt it. And I think that's the future. Give it a go. If you get an opportunity, give it a go. I've done a lot of talking.
Has anybody else got any questions? I'm keeping myself on mute because for some reason I seem to have a phone ringing in the background. But anybody else, any more questions or any more chat?
Hi Mary, great session. It's Jim Mason here. I just repeat the question I put in the chat, which is if the Building Safety Act and the post-Grenfell tragedy shake-up of all things to do with procurement and accountability and traceability, whether the speakers have considered that is an opportunity or a way to market for them in a positive way.
Brave responders to that question from Jim?
I would if I had anything to add. Not our area, sorry.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Does Tom have anything to say?
And certainly, I suppose from our point of view, there's always going to be an aspect when it was particularly around safety where it's generally stick rather than carrot that might drive some changes. I think one of the things that we have when we've spoken to people recently, one of the drivers when we've talked to people about condition monitoring and looking at particulates in the air has been the big drive from the HSE, for example, around silicates and things like that. So I do think that the ever-changing landscape of safety and construction and the improvements that are happening around there are a driver for it. It's certainly something we're aware of, and I think it will help with some of the adoption of various technologies for sure. From our point of view at the moment, productivity itself, which is really our big focus, that's not really something though that it's a buzzword at the minute. I think it's talked about quite a bit, but I don't know that will become something that's KPI'd and kind of written into contracts at the moment, because I don't know that it's understood all that well at the moment, to be honest. Some of the examples we've seen recently, we've heard other speakers talking about productivity at other events, and it was talked about in the terms of if the program's set and it says it's going to take a week for this task to be achieved and it's achieved in a week, then it's been productive, it's been effective. But if that actual task itself was made up of 70% wasted time, standing time, waited time, having to find information out, then it's not really been an effective, good use of time. It shouldn't have took a week in the first place. And that's the stance we're coming from, is how do you measure that, and how do you actually streamline those tasks down to what they should really be? And I don't know that that's going to come out of the Building Safety Act at the minute, but there's certainly some other aspects that we're involved in that will do, yeah.
I think I would just add to that, or slightly tangentially, is that I think there's broader issues around not only building safety but building health, and the capacity of different demonstrators, the capacity for people to visit spaces that are offering more health in terms of internal air quality, all the way through to how that's monitored, and then the safety and health of just general building materials, having spaces where new products can really kind of showcase what they're doing to counter the sort of issues that are quite prevalent in a lot of the materials that we're using widely at the moment. Yeah, I'd like to see more demonstrators showcasing that kind of thing, and particularly lining as these different acts come through, and they will be coming through kind of thick and fast, I'm sure, in the next few years, is that there's a real opportunity to do that within these spaces, and to bring those companies, yeah, into the foreground, really.
Has anybody else got any questions, comments in the chat? It looks like, whoops, there's one, somebody else has got something else. There we are. No, I'm not seeing anything else. As I say, thank you so much for all your time. It's been a real experiment to me, and I'm very pleased for the endorsement from Dan that he's found it fascinating, because as a chair of Constructing Excellence Southwest, it means a lot to have the endorsement from him. But thank you so much all for your time. And as I say, we will be sorting out the recording and sending it out to you. And obviously, I can see that a lot of people will be making contact with each other in the chat. So yes, that's great. And well, maybe having had this success, we'll try it again at a later date. And I'm looking forward to looking at the recording, because I was trying to manage everything all throughout the time. So thank you so much. It's been really useful, and a lovely range of innovative products for us all. So with that, I shall wish you all goodbye and a good evening. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.